If everybody was to leave you today, right, around you, who would you consult in?
That hit like a sack of bricks.
If everybody around you, friends, family, was to leave you today, who would you consult in?
I wouldn't know who.
Welcome back to another episode of The Shift. I am super excited just to be able to sit amongst you all once another episode in your house, in your cars, wherever you are. And today, alongside me, I have someone that I consider a special friend, a special church member, someone when we roll way back.
Yeah.
And when we started talking, she started dropping some gems that I just didn't even know. But today, I'm praying and hoping that this episode is to be able to help you and bless you and be able to bridge and show you that her shifts can help you during your shifts in your life and your different irony moments. So, y'all know I love me a nice little crazy introduction. She is the second oldest of three girls in the house. She's a mother. She went to Fish University. She has a bachelor's. Y'all heard her. She got a bachelor's and a master's alongside me today. Miss Aubria Tosin. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How did the introduction feel? Did it make you feel good?
Oh yeah, look, I never got an introduction like that. Ooh, I'm important. I'm somebody.
Girl, you are important.
Yeah,
You hear
that I
me?
am.
You are important.
Ow.
Look, I just want to break the show loose and start it from the beginning. I want to go back to your journey of how you was raised and what was it like living in a crib with three girls, not knowing that it's a possibility that you had a brother when you was older. But what was it like living in a crib with three girls growing up?
I was a household woman. We already know what that can be like. The hormones everywhere, linking cycles, all that good stuff. Yeah. So, unfortunately, I was smack dab in the middle. So I had an older sister to look up to and a younger sister to pull up.
Yeah.
And you know what they say about middle kids, we get overlooked a lot.
Yeah.
That's definitely true. So yeah, work to my advantage and then also some disadvantages.
Wow. What was it like living in the house with your mother and three sisters, but your mom worked a lot?
So my sister, my older sister, she became more of the caretaker.
Yeah.
Just making sure I fall in line. She had to learn how to cook at an early age, so that's why she goes around telling everybody she can cook, she can cook.
Yeah.
And then my youngest sister, I kind of struggle with that. I didn't really have a relationship with her. I was in my own world, honestly and truthfully. So I didn't get to have like the big sister, little sister moments like I wanted to. Looking back on it,
Looking back on it.
hindsight, right?
Wow. So how did you just navigate through your life during just that time frame, considering that you didn't feel like you had that big sister, little sister connection?
Um, how I navigated through it, just I honestly everything was pushed to like subconscious thinking. I didn't really address a lot of things. It was just, keep moving forward. There's a lot that's going on
Yeah.
right now. So who am I, little on me, to make a big deal out of what my situation was? So really a lot of stuff I really didn't pay much attention to.
Wow. So how did you like inside because you didn't speak about those things or because, inside of you a lot of that stuff didn't come out? Was that a buildup over time? Did you start having conversations in your head? How did you even get your emotions out?
So I came to grips with my emotions, actually getting my master's in psychology, clinical psych. I went and got my general and during my bachelor year, but my master's when I really dove into like helping other people.
Yeah.
They say when you get into the master program for psychology, you tend to diagnose yourself. And so they give you what we call the Bible, the DSM-5, and you just open and you look at it and you're like, okay, so where do I fit in this? And so I pinpointed a lot of my issues and started there. while trying to navigate how to help other people. So now I have the tools to kind of help myself.
So you didn't really get to know yourself or even diagnose yourself until you got your master's going through psychology.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want to press back because that sounds like crazy to say, like,
Yeah.
you didn't get it. Like, so how did you, if we're dialing back to when you were younger, what were your emotions like? What were some of those signs considering that you feel like you couldn't get those things out? Were you just quiet or like, how did you navigate through that?
Um, I would say that I was an introvert trying to be an extrovert. I love to talk. So once you get to know me, it's easy for me to open up. But on the surface, I'm very observant. I rather watch than speak first. I have to warm up to people.
Yeah.
But I also need a lot of external validation. And I consider myself a black sheep in my family. Out of my siblings.
Yeah.
My two sisters, older and younger,
Yeah.
they had the same father.
Okay.
I didn't. So I felt like the oddball out or the different child. And so when your parents have a uh, tumultuous relationship,
Yeah.
you kind of see like, oh, okay, well, it's coming down or trickling down to me
Yeah.
as to how like I'm being presented or their perception of me looks like.
So when you say the different child, to me, you created this narrative in your mind, in your head, and it almost affected you throughout your day
Yeah.
and through your daily life.
Right, right. I think that's why I don't have a solid relationship with my younger sister. Because with my older sister, when it was just me and her, it was like, oh, you got a different dad, I had a different dad. But then when my younger sister came and she had the same dad as my older sister, it was kind of like, you know, stood off to the side. And I did that myself.
Yeah.
I stood off to the side because it was just like, you know, I'm not accepted on my father's side because I didn't know him. And then when we would go around my sister's father's side, it was just like the child that was here because of marriage. So in my mind, it did create some differences and some challenges.
So considering that when you went around, your older sister and younger sister, dad, and when you went around, well, like you didn't know your dad. When do you feel like you got the opportunity to even reach your hand or even try to get to know him, considering that you didn't at the beginning of the
Um,
time?
so I knew who he was,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, he made some poor choices, in his youth, and the time that he became an adult, that was like his last strike. South Carolina has a three-strike rule here,
Okay.
so on his third strike, he was incarcerated. Right when I was in third grade.
Wow.
Um, and so that my younger sister came around that time, and he was going away at that time. So it was adjusting period for both
Yeah.
situations. Um, so once he got out, I was in high school. I was on my way out to graduate, and he served 9 years. So when he came out, although through the letters I wanted a relationship, when it came out, I didn't know how to approach that.
Wow.
So it was a trying relationship, just because I don't know this person.
Mm.
And from what I heard, growing up, he wasn't really a good person to get to know, but that was still my father.
It's still
So
a
I
problem.
had to acknowledge him in that way.
So how did you navigate through, in that sense, when your father's not around, you almost gotta learn through a woman, which is not wrong, okay? You almost gotta learn through a woman of how you're supposed to date rather than through a male, right?
Uh, yeah.
How did
And
that go do those situations?
so uh e- that was challenging.
Okay.
Cuz with my mother not being married,
Yeah.
um and not having my father, I didn't really have either parent to kind of help me
Mhm.
matriculate what that looks like,
Yeah.
what to look for in a man. Now, I knew if one thing my mom told me is never let a man hit on you.
Yeah.
That was the main thing she said.
Yeah.
Never let a man hit on you. So I took that, but as far as the courting, as far knowing the difference between dating and courting, I still don't know to this day. But courtship, didn't know how that worked. Didn't know a lot of etiquette when it came to dating. Um, and so it was kind of difficult because I'm trying to figure out what works for me and what's going on in my time growing up, and it's different perspectives.
Wow.
Different perspectives. And so my dad, he said the same thing, never let a man, run over on you. But like, what does that look like?
Mm.
What does that look like? So I never got concrete examples of what or how a man should treat me.
Wow. So, because you never got those things, how do those things still affect you in your daily life?
A lot, a lot. So, unfortunately, I repeated the cycle of being a single mother. So that within itself, I would definitely say I have not learned from things done before me. As far as showing up,
Yeah.
looking for red flags, yellow flags, even. Um, yeah, I would still say that I'm a little clueless when it comes to the dating field. And as there are different people coming out with podcasts and things like that,
Yeah.
people changing like the 50-50 and
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff. So it's been hard to like kind of figure out, okay, well, what are my expectations when I look
Mhm.
for a partner
Wow.
and things?
So we're gonna get there. We're gonna get to that phase. That's good. That's good. We're gonna get there. I just want to draw you back to high school, where in this phase of your life, you're almost still trying to figure out who you are,
Mhm.
right? In the mix of trying to figure out who you are, from me knowing you, we was all in church every Sunday.
Right.
We had what was it called? Power Zone. Was it called Power Zone?
Yeah,
We had Power Zone where we was almost surrounded around, you know, different teenagers and different people and stuff
right.
like that. Do you think during that time you still had a level or a foundation of who God was trying to also help you during that time?
To a certain extent, I think that's where I was beginning to become like a believer and to actually walk. But when I got to college, I kind of put that on the back burner, honestly and truthfully. But I will say during that time, it was very um vital. Um, and I gained a lot of gems during that time frame.
Yeah. So during that time frame of you going to college and you I won't say walking away, kind of veering off, because I feel like I did the same thing, just going out and having fun and seeing what life was
Right.
like. Why do you think you veered off? Was it just because you just want to have fun, or you think you like? What do you feel like? Because I feel like sometimes I veered off is because I built an identity through God through my mom,
Right. Gotcha.
just in a sense of, come on, let's go to church. We gotta go to church Sunday. Come on, Bible Tuesday, Bible study.
Right, right. Say like, yeah, no say so. No say so. You was gonna go sick.
You know what I'm saying? So you getting pulled. So, during that time when you first entered college, do you feel like was that your veer in the mix of maybe your identity?
So with that, um, I think I wanted to do my own thing. I think I had wanted to separate everything in South Carolina because I went to Nashville, and that included church. Um, but I started looking for my home church here in Nashville and couldn't find that. So without having like, um, I don't want to say watchman, but somebody to watch over me
Yeah.
while I'm not at home. That's where a lot of things went into play and kind of ventured off. Eventually, it just kind of like trickled out.
So what was college? What was college like for you? Just being
Um,
in Nashville.
Man, so the first couple of months, I was calling home like almost every day. And then when I got my footing, I think I did a little bit better. Now I had an issue my freshman year with the roommate.
Yeah.
Oh man, apparently the whole floor. I had a wing, a long wing, and I had an issue with everybody on that long wing, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, okay, this is this is something new. Um, and then it just seemed like year after year, it was always something that I had to like battle or to face. So, yeah, that was definitely difficult. And taking some autonomy, I would definitely say. Getting a job, my first very my real job, a real job
Mm.
out there. So I was doing a lot of things on my own.
So what was it like, in the mix of you being in college? Do you feel like you was in a place where you was almost I felt like for me personally, right? To
Mm,
double dab back on me, I felt like I was in a place where I was trying to be in one side of the world and trying to be in the other side of the world while still trying to navigate through my way through college, right?
okay.
You mentioned earlier where you said like, I felt like there was a difference in my life, right? A difference in your life whenever you was growing up. Did you still feel that difference while you was in college?
No, because I actually separated myself from it. So it's different when you're here and it's like in your face.
Yeah.
But Nashville, going to college was my excuse to put distance between me and my issues. So I didn't really care that my relationship with my sisters were different. My relationship with my mom versus her relationship with all my other sisters were different. Not having a really good relationship with my father, that really didn't matter because I was in Nashville and I had my own thing going. So that was something I put in the rearview mirror. It wasn't something that I paid attention to.
So when did that one thing that you put in the rearview mirror where you kind of separated yourself come back around to you again?
Um, when I came back.
Okay, right. Okay.
I would definitely say when I came back, because it's hard to run away from what my everyday life is.
Yeah.
Um, People calling me left and right every day. I speak to all my family almost every day now. Back in Nashville, uh, I ain't heard from you in a minute. I know. Um, I'm busy. I can't say I'm busy here because any minute they could pull up on me and see that I'm not. But yeah, I would definitely say getting back here is when I started having to confront some of these things.
Do you think now you've confronted some of these things or attacked these things head on, or you think sometimes you still
Um,
run away from it?
nah, avoidance is something I've definitely, if it's not brought up, I'm not going to address it. And I think that's how I've done most areas of my life. Um, 'Cause it's like once you know what you need to address, you have the responsibility of it. And so sometimes I don't want the responsibility.
So even with not having the responsibility, does it sometimes mess with you in the middle of the night, considering that you don't have the responsibility or you haven't attacked it?
Yeah. Yeah, cause I can always say, you really can't go around it, can't go over it, under it, you gotta go through it. So it's meeting me every morning. It's definitely meeting me every night when I go to bed. So that's something I battle with almost on a constant.
Well, so you decided to then go off to Nashville. You do your thing in Nashville. I mean, you go out and what did you end up majoring in while you was
Oh, psychology. So general psych for a bachelor's and then clinical psych and for my master's.
okay? And how did you get into that?
That's a good question. So, I d- things have never been my decision. Um, I chose my major to be well, I didn't choose my major to be my biology. My mom chose it.
Yeah,
She's like, "Well, you say you want to be a pediatrician. I only wanted to do that because somebody else was going to be that."
yeah.
So that wasn't for me. I just was looking up to a person who I admired. Um, And so when that didn't work, I went to music because they were like, "Oh, go with something that you will enjoy doing for your show." Like, I like singing,
Yeah.
but that don't matter to make it a career.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't really tell me like,
Mm,
okay,
that's
that's a hobby. That's not something that you're going to make money off
yeah.
of. For me personally.
Yeah.
And so my best friend, she and a few of her friends were hyping up psychology at the time. So I read up on it a little bit. But really truthfully, all she had to say was I like psych, and I would have been like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into psychology, and then I actually started to like it, and so I was like, okay, then I got good at it. So once I'm good at something, I feel like I need to dedicate my all to it because there are a lot of things I feel like I'm not good at. So once that made sense to me, I was like, okay, well, let's go all in, and that's how I got there.
Wow. So you went through at least 3 different shifts before you even got to your
Yeah.
where you actually wanted to be. So let me ask you this question. Considering that, well, would you also say that because you do psychology and you're considered to be a therapist, correct?
hmm
How often do you use some of the same things when we're like right now you sit in chair, you talk to other people, do you use it back on yourself?
Um. um. It's easy. Um. It's easy to critique
Yeah.
when you're not the person under the scope.
Mhm.
So it's easy for me to do this
Yeah.
and then show people their stuff. But the moment the mirror's on me,
Yeah.
I just can't.
It's sometimes
Yeah.
hard to look right back in the mirror.
Oh, most definitely, especially when I had a hand in half of the things that I would say is where I'm at today.
Wow.
So I would definitely say I have been a lot more self-aware
Yeah.
and insightful and slowly applying things over and over time
Yeah.
rather, but at the beginning not so much.
Wow.
Not so much.
So considering that you went through 3 or 2 or 3 different majors before you got to psychology,
Mhm.
would you say that is a place where God has placed you?
Um I would definitely say that. I would definitely say that just because I wouldn't have came with it on my own.
Yeah.
I do feel that the friendships I have made while I was in college were purposeful. So even if I'm thinking I'm just gonna do what my friend wanted me to do, I think he definitely placed her in my life to show me um and to continue on with that. So even if, I kind of don't think that it was my decision or I did make the decision, but I wasn't, the person behind that decision, truthfully,
Mm.
I think I would have made my way around there eventually.
You keep saying, I'm just now starting to notice, you keep saying, "I didn't, make that decision," right?
Mhm.
If you could make any decision and God will open that door for you, what decision would you make right now?
Who? Um, that's a good question. That's a good question.
'Cause I don't know, my ears are just ringing the bell because you keep saying, "I didn't make that decision." Like, I'm hearing you sometimes when I'm hearing stuff, I be hearing it, but then, like, it be processing, and in my mind, it's
Mhm.
just like, in the past 3 or 4 things you said, you was like, "I didn't make that decision, I didn't make that decision." It's like, you happy when you are, you're doing what you need to be doing,
Mm.
but you saying, like, "I didn't make that decision." So what decision would you make right now?
And I say that's hard to kind of share because my decisions have been other people's decisions. Even asking that question, the first thing I thought of was, okay, let me ask my mom. And so I was just like, wait a minute, I don't have um very intelligent, let me say that.
No, no, for sure. For sure.
But I see that a lot of my choices aren't really original pieces of mine. It's always influenced by somebody else saying, "Oh, I think you'll be good at this," but never something that I just say, "You know what? I like this. I want to do this. I'm interested in this." It's always been dependent upon somebody else's opinion or what they think I should be doing. So I really can't answer that question because I would have to consult with people in my life to help me out with it.
How often I'm going a little different direction with this show for right now, but
Okay.
I just feel like I'm lit. How often do you step out the box for yourself to go out there to do different things?
The only difference or the only different things that I would do,
Yeah.
um, is food choices,
This
like small
yeah.
things, not nothing too big, not nothing too grand. Um, and that sounds horrible when I say it, but that's literally the truth. Um, I don't mind being different in those areas and trying different things and being different, but it has never grown to something bigger than liking different foods than my family or liking different music genres than my family. That's all that it's been.
Mm. Imma ask you another tough question,
Okay.
okay? If everybody was to leave you today, right, around you, who would you consult in?
That hit like a sack of bricks.
If everybody around you, friends, family, was to leave you today, who would you consult in?
I wouldn't know who.
How do we get to a place where you can make decisions for yourself? Because if every decision, right, and I'm just talking off of based off of what you're giving me, right?
Right, right.
If every decision is based upon someone else and is not upon yourself, how do you make a decision? Or if you consult, because you have a foundation of who God is,
Mm,
right? How often do you consult into God rather than man?
mm. So two, I would say that could be answered in two different things.
Okay.
One, I'm hyper independent.
Okay.
I think that was modeled for me, and so I mimicked that behavior from my mother. Um, so although I depend on other people to make my next move,
Yeah.
I rather do things myself once I figure out what's next. Um, so I don't have trust in God.
Mhm.
I hear people, I see people, I want it, but every time I get presented with the opportunity to lean on him,
Yeah.
it's difficult.
Mm. What's
And
that?
um it has a lot to do with people call him father. If I were to think of my biological father, there's nothing about that man I would trust. Um, he's been reliable,
Yeah.
um, to the extent that he could be, but not reliable in my eyes.
Yeah.
So anytime that he says he's going to do something, he would. But the things that I needed him in, he could not. And I had to kind of work on that when he did pass away, that it was his capacity. And I can't expect more out of him than what he was able to produce. But if I were to relate my relationship with my father and a relationship that people say they have with God our Father, I I don't have a good example. So I think that's what hinders me from it because I never on earth seen experience because I've seen a lot of good fathers
Yeah.
um experience that type of relationship.
Mm. So we know God to be a God that can do all things. And we know God to be a God that don't make any mistakes. That
Right.
we've learned that his timing is perfect. We've learned that he gives you the ability to speak to, like how he said in the Bible, speak to the mountain and the mountain moved, right?
Right, right.
How, God help me, how do you, how can you almost put your father and God on the same level when we're dealing with man and I guess you could say a spirit, not a spirit, but you know what I'm trying to say,
Right.
God. How would you put those two on the same level? Considering even though the word father both plays a part in both of those,
Got
right?
you.
But you got one that's perfect and one that's still human, that's still moving in the earthly flesh.
Gotcha. No, I definitely think my father had some faults, a lot of faults, really. Um, it sounds crazy to put them on that same level. Just because, like you said, one is a human, one is perfect.
Yeah.
Um, I guess I haven't really considered that as a possibility to move forward
Yeah.
with creating a distinction
Yeah.
between the two. Um, because the only thing that's the same is the word itself,
Yeah.
father.
Yeah.
So, um, I shouldn't look at the relationship that I had with my father and kind of what's the psychology term for it? Displace
Yeah.
that onto him.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have.
What has been, as gentle as I've been, you don't have to disclose this. What has been your relationship like with God? And in a sense of, because I know I can very well relate sometimes where I may be speaking out in a space like this and it's just me or at
Mm.
night and I'm like, God, I need help. And he's helping, but I may not sometimes see it. Or, God, why did this happen to me? Or why did you allow this happen to me? Do you think sometimes you've pushed yourself away from God through some of the choices that you've made? Or do you think sometimes you just haven't got a hold of what God is doing in your life right now at this moment?
I would say that. I would definitely say the second piece. Um, yeah.
Why so?
Um, Me always being in my own way. Um, I have the tendency to not wait, not be patient
Mm,
when it comes to things.
mm,
So I'll try to have a conversation with him and it'll go like, hey, I got some things going on. I need your help. I'm trying to relinquish control over the situation, let you take control. I may ask a question, and then if he doesn't answer in the time frame that I think that is reasonable for me and my anxious self, then I say, okay, well, I did what I was supposed to do. I asked you, so now I'm gonna do what I gotta do. So I'm definitely guilty of not being patient when it comes to him and respecting his timing,
yeah,
because it's all about my time. I feel like I need it, whatever it is, when I say I need it.
yeah.
And then sometimes I have my moments where I see him working, and I'm like, ah, that was you.
Wow.
That was definitely you. And then I have my moments where I begin to cry, begin to thank him. But then I also always feel foolish because it's like if you only just waited, I would have showed you
Uh,
what I was doing.
Wow.
And so I got goosebumps.
Wow, that's good. No, that's good. That's good.
If I only just waited, you would have saw that I had my hand on the very thing you asked me for all along. And then I have to go back to, God, are you really listening to me? And he tells me every time, I've been listening, I've been watching you. You just don't stand still. You don't be still and know. You just don't stand still to even see me in the background. I don't have to come out and do something elaborate,
Yeah.
but I am working behind the scenes.
So because you're in this space today,
Mhm.
we about to walk ourselves through it because I feel like I'm in that space now. If I'm being honest with you. Also, I want to say Friday or Saturday. I don't know, I was watching some video scrolling on my phone, and I thought to myself, and I was like, because of what you see now, it looks
Mhm.
like I got it all together, right? Or like in my mind, I have people telling me, "Oh, you going somewhere," but it doesn't feel like I could sit in this chair, I could talk to you, I
Mhm.
can do everything I need to do to be able to push this show.
Gotcha.
But sometimes by the time I get up from the seat, I still don't feel like I made a move, no
Right.
matter the goal I have in mind to get to where I'm trying to go, right? And I said to myself, I said, I was driving back from Atlanta one day and I was on the phone with one of my homegirls. And I asked her, I said, I'm so frustrated that God is not hearing me. And she said, you know why? It's because you're always talking and you're never listening.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I sat out to myself this week, and it's crazy that I just said this to myself earlier. I just sat out to myself this week. I said, rather than praying every single night and saying my prayers and saying God is what I want or asking, God how he's doing or whatever I'm asking for that moment,
Mm.
how about not so much a pray, just meditate just in his presence. And if he talks, he talks. If he doesn't, just keep on going. Like almost take a whole week where you just meditate in his presence to see if he talks to you in that area. Because I think sometimes when we get to a place where we are constantly talking, there's a possibility that we may be talking over him when in that place we actually
Right.
should be listening. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
How often do you think you just sit down and just meditate in his presence, or you think you just like in this life you're in right now, you just moving, just worried about the next thing?
Yeah, I would definitely say that second part. It's just constantly moving. There's something always on my mind, something I forgot about, something that's I need to think about. So I don't really have those moments. Um, and so when they say carve out time for God, carve out time for God, that's what he wants. And it's like, I know Jesus see what I got going on right now. Like if you just take some stuff off my plate, I probably could, but then again, I have to be honest with myself. Like there was moments where I had nothing on my plate and I still didn't. Um, but I would definitely say right now with everything that I'm trying to do, and what I'm going through, uh, it really don't it feel feasible
Mm.
because I don't even have time to my own self to set my own thoughts, and then by that time, the next day gotta come, and there's something else I gotta worry about and deal with,
Mm.
and it's just like a never ending cycle where it's just like, okay, well, I get to 'em when I get to 'em. That sound real horrible, but it's
That's
kinda like
that's
that, and
real.
sometimes I go to church just because that is the time, and then I catch myself making lists and grocery shopping and
Mm.
seeing what I missed out on the week on social media and stuff, so even that time that has been carved out just to be in his presence, I'd rather do something else.
Mm. I have a moment in my podcast where I like to take you back. Okay, I'm gonna take you back through your whole journey of what we just talked about. Okay,
Okay.
you're a little girl
Mhm.
that grew up in a house as the middle child, one mom, and you're the only one in the family that had a different dad,
Mhm.
right? And you labeled yourself at that point in time that you was different, right?
Mhm.
But rather than categorizing gently, I'm saying this gently, tell me if I'm wrong. Rather than categorizing yourself as different, as in a place where accepting it, you almost went to a place of identity because you felt like you were different, because you felt like you didn't fit in, right?
Right, right.
Okay. You ended up going through different phases in life because your dad was locked up and you went off to college, you went through high school, went through high school, then you went off to college and you faced some more different difficult phases in your life and where you didn't get a chance to make none of these decisions, right? And now you are a grown woman and you are a mother and you're still pushing to who you become today. Um, how does that make you feel inside considering that you are still here today? Like these are things that you navigated through your whole life. You said you was
Right.
different. You was the middle child. Your dad wasn't around. How does it make you feel just to be able to sit in this chair now and just say, like, I made it through? When's the last time you look back over your life and you said, I made it through and I'm still making it?
Not too often. Not too often. Because in my anxious mind, I'm not even thinking about what's behind me. I'm looking at what's in front of me. And when I say that, not like positive things like, oh, okay, well, those were years of, even though it shaped me
Yeah.
and I should definitely be appreciative, those were issues that I would definitely trade with somebody else if they had a better life than me. And so looking forward, it's just like this other things I gotta worry about.
And I want to push up. We're gonna push. I'm about to get ready to close this out in a little second, but I want to push into another shift in irony. You also became a mother.
Mm.
How did that go?
Um, so at that time, I think I was at my lowest, as far as functional depression. So on the outside, nobody could really see. If you were really paying attention to my behaviors, my coping skills, really defense mechanisms,
Yeah.
um, you would know that everything was not all right with me. But for other people, just seemed like the middle child. It was always I was never had the spotlight, never had attention on to me too much because there was always somebody above me and somebody below me that needed the attention more. So I floated in my depression at that time and made some careless decisions to um, indulge in substances I was not supposed to, drinking like I was not supposed to, combining the two. Um, Relationships that first of all, situationships that
Mhm.
should have never happened had I had, a better self-esteem for myself.
Yeah.
Um, so at that point in time, it was just easy.
Yeah.
It was really just easy. Honestly, I tell myself it was bound to happen because,
Well,
um, I wasn't gonna be the one to stop it.
do you think you having a child at the age you did, which again is not a in reality, it's not a bad thing. It's only a bad thing. Be gentle to the people that's getting ready to see this. It's only a bad thing when you didn't do it consider in the will of God, right?
Right.
But in reality, a child is not really a bad thing.
No.
Do you think that you having a child now change kind of your view outlook on life?
Um
Or do you feel like you're still trying to balance and figure it out as you continue to grow with your child?
I think I'm still trying to figure it out. I think what changed is how I show up.
Mm,
Um, Obviously, I can't do half the things that I used to do
yeah,
while he's coming up because, again, if I'm saying I modeled, it was modeled for me how I feel like I am today, and I mimic that.
yeah,
I already know that's what's going to probably happen if
yeah,
he gets to an age of realization. Oh, well, if I have a bad problem, all I gotta do is bust open a can of wine, a bottle of wine,
yeah,
or take my next hit, or do something self-destruction pretty much. And so I've dealt with it differently than I would back in the day,
yeah.
back then, than I do now. But my outlook is still changing, I would say. It's better.
But
It's better, but slowly but surely it is changing.
to somebody, because you're a therapist,
Mm.
right? And I keep again, is tones and different things that's going off in my ears as you're talking. You label yourself as functional.
Depression.
The functional depression, right? So someone that may be going through functional depression, or someone that may be in your shoes, or dealt with a difference where they didn't know how to navigate through, or maybe they did, but they just didn't attack it all. What would you say to a person that's in that season of life?
Definitely get someone to talk to. I think that was missing. Um, because I did it on my own. Although I'm learning about it, I'm advocating to other people. Uh, it didn't really click to me that I actually needed somebody to kind of hear me out and to see me, and to also validate me. Um, and what I got going on. So I would definitely say, most definitely, go and get someone, a professional to talk to, um, about that, and then have grace on yourself. I am my toughest critic. I'm always hard on me, and I. It really didn't click to me how bad that was until someone had to shed a light on me like, "Hey, you," it was Brother Reggie that did that
Wow.
recently.
Wow.
He was like, "Your life growing up, it's no wonder. There was nothing about my life then that would have made me that said I should have been a therapist," I would
Mhm.
say. Um, so I would definitely say, and I'm stumbling on my words. Um Having somebody validate the hurt and the pain that I went through and actually see me
Yeah.
made a difference because I'm just vicariously just going through it and not really paying attention to, you know, this is what I did because this happened. That is what I did because that happened. Not really just thinking that I'm doing things because I'm doing things, but there was a rhyme and reason to why I was acting out and acting in self destruction like I
Mhm.
was.
How, to someone you we live in a world now where a lot of people don't wanna go to therapy. A lot of people are not ready to sit down and look themselves in the mirror, right? To someone that don't wanna go, what would you say to them?
Um, Because as a therapist, I would say still go.
Yeah.
um, and I only say that because you can be biased. You could definitely have a biased mindset. Um, and that's why it does make a difference when you present things to someone else that could say, "Hey, like you know your patterns, right? These are not good patterns. These are not if what you're trying to accomplish, you're not going to do that with what you're doing right now."
Yeah.
For someone who do not think that going to therapist is a good idea, I wouldn't say go to a therapist. There are life coaches, there your pastors.
Yeah.
Um, but you definitely need to talk about what you got going on. Like I think there's a lot of issues and stigma with our community as well as everybody else outside of that. Um, just thinking that you're the voice of reasoning when that could be so distorted. Um, I would- that's what I would definitely recommend. Stop trying to bottle things up. I think I bottled a lot inside, and then it had me feeling like I was drowning. And so, it's never too late, but there's a lot of unworking I'm having to do to get to a place of healing.
And the amount of work, what type of work do you physically put in? Is it, like, more so, like, physical, like, as in mental? Like, you gotta be able to take yourself to different exercising to get to where you're trying to go?
Right now I'm working on being consistent for myself and discipline. I break a lot of my own boundaries and a lot of my own promises to myself, which would also relate to how I carry friendships or people around me. If I can't even hold promises to myself, I can't really do that with other people.
Yeah.
So right now, what I'm doing is just trying to be consistent. and showing up for myself and working through discipline to get to the point of doing the real work.
Yeah. Okay. So again, this episode has been a little different than any of our other episodes, okay? And that's good. That's good because I think today we really help somebody step over that bridge and help them shift their
Good.
lives. But I want to throw a challenge at you. This is the first challenge I ever threw out, all right?
Okay.
We talked about earlier that you haven't made a choice for yourself in a long time.
Right.
Right? You probably made choices every day, maybe going to get something to eat or
Right.
going around the corner. But in the next month, I want you to take a leap of faith and make a choice for yourself.
Mm.
Something that you only consult within yourself and something that you only consult within God and nobody else. And make that choice. Because one thing that I know who God to be is if you make a choice within yourself and you consult it within Him and it aligns with His purpose, He will allow it. And we consult all our things within man, we can only go as far as man can see
Right.
and not who's God called us to be.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So that's my challenge for you. All right.
I got you.
All right. Thank you all so much for tuning into the shift. We thank you for again sitting in your cars, listening to our show in your houses, your cars, or wherever you are. And I mean, I don't know. I'm a little speechless on this show. So we thank you again for listening and yeah. Peace. We out.